you struggling to rank up in Dragon Ball FighterZ, getting absolutely demolished by the competition? Or are you relatively new to the game, trying to figure out what you can do next to improve? Well, in today's video, I got 5 tips with some honorable mentions that are going to help you turn the tides of a ranked fight and help you get to those higher ranks you want to be at. Massive shout out to you guys in the community because, well, some of these tips came from, once again, you guys. So if you haven't already subscribed to this amazing community, pull up a seat, hang out for a while, and join a community that loves Dragon Ball FighterZ just as much as you. So tip number 1, here we go, learn movement. And this is something that Kaioken hits on in his comment where he says learn neutral. You see, new players, once they get in on this game, all they want to do is attack. Go on the offensive. But pump those brakes there, man, hold up. Learn to move around the screen. You don't ever want to be just sitting still in this game. You want to be jumping, you want to be backdashing, running forward, or using any of your various attacks to go ahead and move as well. Somebody who understands their characters is going to use that character's special attacks in order to move around the screen and make themselves either A, more difficult to hit, or B, make it easier for them to get in on you. So if you ask me, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 comes to us not only from Kaioken, but also HR kind of alludes to it when he says how to 2H. And that tip is, don't super dash. Eliminate that option from your mind. And this is a perfect segue from our last tip, because we just talked about movement options, of which newer players really love the super dash option. But anybody who catches on to the fact that you're spamming super dash is gonna punish you big time with a massive 2H to the gut. And at that point, your super dash just became their free damage. If you don't want to be free damage, stop super dashing. Don't do it. While yes, Super Dash is an extremely powerful tool and certainly is very useful, spamming it is going to get you into a lot of trouble. Instead of spamming Super Dash, hang out on your side of the screen and pester your opponent with Ki Blasts. Let them Super Dash in on you. And now, you can spam the 2H in order to go ahead and make their Super Dash into your free damage. You'll be surprised how this still works on Ultra Instinct players. Now, Very Solid gives us our 3rd tip, and that's don't mash buttons. And this is actually something that AJ kind of hits on as well when he says make good block strings. You see, there's certainly a time to mash buttons, but mashing buttons can get you into sticky situations if your opponent just hit you with an attack that leaves you really negative. Meaning, if you get hit with an attack like that, you're going to have to sit there and wait until you can actually mash buttons while your opponent starts to load up another attack. And their attack is gonna nab you before yours nabs them. That's why you don't want to mash. You may hear players say it's not your turn, and that's what they're referring to. The opponent tried to mash on them when it wasn't their turn yet. But with that said, with experience, you'll begin to learn when you can and when you can't mash. And when you see those opportunities come around where you can mash, you best believe you want to be mashing those buttons. And this also comes down to character knowledge. Some characters' moves are simply just too slow to mash with, while other characters' moves are extremely fast and very, very mashable. Tip number 4 comes to us from Super Saiyan, and they say learn a block. Once again, as I said in the beginning of this video, Dragon Ball FighterZ can seem extremely offense heavy. And because of that, well, only one person can be doing offense at a time. And with that said, it stands to reason that the other person either has to A, block, or B, get hit. So if you don't want to get hit, you gotta learn how to block. And part of this means teching Dragon Rushes. Now, it's not the easiest thing to tech a Dragon Rush with online connectivity in some cases, but the more consistent you can get those, the better off you're gonna be. Blocking is something that really can't be stressed enough in Dragon Ball FighterZ. And it's that simple, man. Blocking is blocking. You're gonna have to do it, so you gotta get good at it. A really great tip for blocking is if your opponent has an airtight block string, meaning that there is no opening, no gap in the block string, then the game will automatically block left to right mix-ups, meaning all you have to worry about is high-low mix-ups. However, if your opponent should stall a little bit and leave a tiny bit of a gap, then you do have to worry about left to right mix-ups as well as high-low mix-ups. Tip number 5. Learn to use your assists, not only for block strings, but for combos, as well as for neutral. Assists are an amazing tool in Dragon Ball FighterZ with a lot of utility. Assists can really help you to extend your combos in order to dish out more damage. And they can also help you confirm combos to begin with. They can allow you to go for riskier options as they defend you, getting your back while you move in for the kill. That way, if your opponent tries to punish your risky option, your assist will nail them before that happens. For the first honorable mention tip, learn to look at your opponent's character. Don't so much focus on yours. You want to stay focused on what your opponent is doing and where they are on the screen. This game is extremely quick, and if you look away for just a second, your opponent could do something that you could have reacted to, but you missed it. And as you get more comfortable with the game, and as you get more comfortable with your characters, you'll understand your character's movements and how far those movements travel. So you won't have the need need to really look at your character. Essentially treating your character like looking at a side mirror in your car as you glance over for a millisecond. That should be the most you ever look at your character, only ever seeing it from your peripheral vision. This helps you keep track of what your opponent's doing at all times. That way they don't catch you off guard with something that you should have been able to react to. AJ suggests making a good block string. You see, block strings are great, man. So let's say you're in a ranked fight and you get in on your opponent. You start mashing buttons without a care in the world. What happens? You end up doing something that isn't really all that safe, and your opponent ends up getting out of the block string and punishes you for it. Or, if you're like me, the millisecond the block string gives you an opening, you raw level 3 them. You see this? You don't want this to be you. So create yourself a good block string. Something that's airtight and also tricky. That way you can mix it up every now and again and allow yourself to get in on your opponent. That's where block strings are really powerful, because not only do they apply massive amounts of pressure to your opponent, the better the block string, the higher the chance that they're going to get opened up by it, and the more opportunities you have to do so. And last tip that's an honorable mention comes to us from Mingekyo. And they say play your favorite character. Luckily for you, in Dragon Ball FighterZ, every single character is viable. Even the worst characters in the game are still really decent characters. So you can feel safe playing whatever characters you enjoy, and so long as you practice enough, you'll do perfectly fine with them. Alright, I think that pretty much wraps up all the tips I had. But if you guys want to go ahead and chime in on the conversation, then feel free to leave a comment down below. What are some tips you'd give newer players? If you'd like some more Dragon Ball FighterZ content, feel free to check out any of the videos on the screen now. And if you enjoyed today's video, remember to hit the like button, it helps out a bunch. And if you're not already part of this amazing community, then hit the subscribe button down below. We got a great thing going here, and I'd love to see you guys in tomorrow's video. Thank you for watching to the end.